Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Board Game Mechanics. I'm Katie, and with me, as always, is...
Hey, everybody, what's going on? It is Jason.
Watch out, guys. I think this is 2 weeks in a row.
It might be. Yeah, I think that's right. We'll see. Yeah.
As amazing as it is, we are ramping up. I also have even outlined my first blog post, so I just have to type it. Like, I'm doing stuff.
Wow, look at you go.
I know. Everything else in my life is falling apart. It's fine. I've ignored everything else. No, but we are back. Lots to discuss because we are still working through our top 100 games of all time. And so I'm trying to commit to once a week, and that way we have enough time maybe for little breaks, for a Christmas episode. Maybe next week we'll do a Halloween episode.
Oh, yeah, we got lots of good Halloween games we can talk about.
We do. So we are committed to the content. Oh, there's also our Nerdapalooza / BGM Con recap.
Yeah, we can recap that for sure.
Yeah, I haven't done the logistics on the weeks, so I don't know. It'll be up to Jason.
We'll finish the top 100 when we finish it. We can do whatever we want to, ultimately.
I guess that's true. It's nice to finish with the new year, I think.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right. So in light of that, we will not be, I won't be doing news today on this episode. I will on next episode, so we can kind of not overtax my correspondent in the field. And also not make these episodes super long because Jason edits all of our stuff and he has to edit out a lot of my annoying background noises. But we will talk about games played. So Jason will start us off with that because we've been playing some new hotness.
That is true. We have been. So let's talk about one of those new hotness games. And this is a game we actually backed on Kickstarter.
I didn't know we did that.
Yeah, we do that occasionally. It's been known to happen occasionally. And this one is called Unconscious Mind. And this is... The reason that this game was intriguing is because it has art from Vincent Dutrait and Andrew Bosley. They're both working together to create this cool, like, Sigmund Freud psychoanalysis universe. But yeah, that's I like the art. But effectively, the game this is a worker placement game, sort of, where you're trying to get different. You're one of the Sigmund Freud's contemporaries. I don't know if that's the right word, but a person who works with Freud.
Yeah, contemporaries.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if contemporary was after or at the same time. So what you're trying to do is you have these patients that are coming to your office, and you're trying to develop different types of therapy to cure these patients. And you're going to be doing that by moving around on these 3 different tracks, which are passion, freedom, and growth. And you're trying to learn as much in each of those 3 tracks as you can, because certain patients are going to have dreams that they're going to have that you need to be able to spend certain types of insights to kind of, I don't know, pull a Joseph and, translate that dream for the Pharaoh. But that's kind of what you're doing. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on in this game. I'm not really going to go into it a ton, but it's got a lot going on. There's player actions. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on your player board. You're kind of building a tableau. You're moving around this little city to get different bonuses. You're trying to race to get these certain goals to happen so you can move up on reputation. Tons of stuff going on. But I really like this game. We played it twice in a row. Me and Katie played it once by ourselves and then once the next day with her cousin's husband. And man, I like this game. It's got a lot going on. Tons of decisions, tons of things you can do, tons of ways to score points. I'm getting better at teaching it, which is also a plus. But yeah, I like this. This is fantastic. I'm glad we backed it. And if we play it more, maybe we can grab the expansion at some point. So there you go. What do you think about Unconscious Mind?
I did not know there was an expansion.
Yeah, it was like an extra $50 on the Kickstarter, but a miniature market is like 20, so I'll just get it there.
Yeah, I like this. I remember when it was on Kickstarter, and I was like, this looks awesome. And not just because of the artwork, although the art is really beautiful. We got some like holographic cards that are dreams, and they look really cool. But also this game, it does have a lot going on. I wouldn't say it's like Vital level, but definitely Italians level.
I don't know. It's up there. It kind of feels Vitalish to me. Maybe not as heavy though.
Yes, yeah, but I mean, with the different types of things and different areas that you have to work in, there is a lot to keep track of. And I think that is really great because it really does push your mind. You're like, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to get? How do I get these things that I want? And the first time we played it, I felt really good about what I was doing. And then the second time I was like, okay, yeah, now I know how to play. This is what I need to do. And nothing like the combos just didn't work right for me. So I don't know that that's a flaw to the game necessarily, or if that means that only sometimes things work, or I just don't know how to do it well enough yet. But there is so much replayability. Like that's something my cousin's husband was saying, like, you got different patients combos coming out with like their different grief layer cards that add to different aspects. The combos of dreams that are getting put together. There are lots of ways to score points in game, whether healing patients or there's these like, you can publish treatises about the work that you're doing. Really tight worker placement plus managing your resources. And it's just so pretty. The components are great. This isn't a deluxe, right?
No, the deluxe.
I doubt you would back the deluxe.
The components are pretty much the same. There's a few little tweaks, but yeah, it's not. We have the retail one.
The components are really great for the retail one. One section that you move around with, you use an ink bottle, and it's like really chunky, and the colors are really great that they choose. Like, I just like a lot of what's going on in this game. I'm definitely excited to play it more for sure.
Yeah, we do. The holographic cards are a little mini expansion that came with what we got. So we got the game and then like a little pack of modules. So we do have a little bit of expansion, but there's an expansion called Nightmares,
Ooh.
which is a full big box. Not a big box, but a big expansion.
Color me intrigued. Although there's already a lot going on. Like, you and I would probably play the expansion, but it would take a while for us to get somebody else to play it.
Well, sure. And like it doesn't add, it like changes things.
Oh.
So like the place where the insights are, it changes that whole wheel around. So it doesn't like add, it just makes the whole game feel a little bit different.
Interesting.
It adds some pets. Like, so there's a module where you can have some pets, but outside of that, it doesn't really add extra stuff.
Okay. Yeah, but a really great game. One I look forward to playing a lot more with other people.
Yes, I agree. All right. And then we actually played both of these on the same night as well with Katie's cousin and her husband. And the second one that we're going to talk about is a game that we saw at Gen Con, but it was sold out. And they were doing a Gen Con special where you could order it online, pre-order it online, and not have to pay shipping. And it was only $30, so that's a pretty good deal. And the game is HiFi. Now, the only reason I really was interested in this, I like games that are about music and music themes, bands. And this basically is a game about recording. You're like a sound engineer recording songs for bands.
You also like games with a gimmick.
Yes, and it has an awesome gimmick where it has a rondelle that is basically set up like a record player. It doesn't have to look like that, but it does, and it's awesome. So, yeah, it has a gimmick. That rondelle doesn't have to look like that, but I'm glad that it does. So, effectively, what this game is it is, I don't even know how to explain it. It's basically just a little, like, tableau building game where everybody's working together to build these 4 tracks that are being recorded. I don't know how you're not recording 4 bands at the same time, but that's what you're doing in the game. You're recording 4 bands at the same time. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get certain types of cards, either in certain time slots, because each card's going to have a color, which is a type of instrument, a time slot, and the song where it wants to go, and then a sound wave, either if it's going to be quiet, if it's going to be big, or it's going to be like a medium sound wave. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get these in a certain order on each of the tracks, because you have these during game goals that if cards are in certain orders, you can score some points. And you're also trying to get those types of cards together. So if I get two guitars together, I have a guitar solo in the track, and then I get to get some other additional bonus. So you're trying to just do all that to score points, and at the end of a certain number of rounds, you're going to get points. It's a pretty simple game. You're moving the rondelle, taking the action on the rondelle, playing a card, possibly scoring points, moving on. That's the whole gist of the game, really. I was expecting it to be a little bit deeper, a little bit more. It's pretty simple. There's an advanced side that we didn't play, but from what I was reading, it doesn't sound like it's going to necessarily change it up all that much. So I don't necessarily know if that's going to help, but I didn't hate it, but I was just expecting a little bit more from it. The set collection the card arrangement was okay. The rondelle was okay. The theme was awesome, but that's not enough to make me want to keep coming back to a game over and over and over. So a little bit let down on this one, but I would still play it if somebody wanted to. So how'd you feel about HiFi?
It looks cooler than it is. And it looks really cool. That's the problem. It looks so cool that then the gameplay is disappointing. And I think another thing that would probably actually help is if the theme was part of the game. Because I feel like the thematic content doesn't go over to the actions that you're taking. So they just all seem arbitrary. And like, especially we just played, Rock Hard 77.
Yes.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And that game, I feel like, does the music theme so much better and so much more interesting. And I would if I'm going to play a game about music, I'd much rather play that one. I think that this is just so, light, that it would need at least a couple solid expansions for me to be like, okay, yeah, I definitely want to play this, because I want more out of it. I want to make a little more sense why I would take the actions that I'm taking. Yes, the turntable rondelle, super cool. The little knobs and faders and stuff, cool, but not enough ultimately for me to carry the game.
Yeah, and I feel like while I like the record player rondelle, it feels like that part doesn't go with the rest of it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in the sound studio recording the track. Why is there a record player there? I'm recording the track for the record player, but they shouldn't be there at the same time. I don't know. It's a little disjointed, but it still looks amazing. I'm not knocking it. It still looks amazing. But if I'm picking up on that, I'm sure other people pick up on it too, because I'm no theme guy. But yeah. So anyway, those are the two games we played. Unconscious Mind, fantastic. HiFi, there we go. I wouldn't say you shouldn't play it. Like, if you don't play a ton of games and you like the theme and you like simpler games, totally check it out. It's worth checking out, just if nothing else for the way it looks. But if you're looking for something deep, I would maybe pass that one up. So, all right. So those are the two games we played. Let's go.
All right, so we are back with our favorite games of all time, the top 100. And this episode, we are tackling numbers 90 to 81. And again, if you missed 100 to 91, check out the podcast right before this podcast, episode 287. If you want the 100 outside the 100, Jason is doing a video series on that, and then a blog on his 100 outside the 200. And I'm working on a blog for the 100 outside the 100 of mine as well. And some of what Jason has today, I think, will be appearing in that series. But we're going to start with number 90.
All right, so my number 90, I'm not sure if this was on my list before in previous years. I need to maybe do a comparison at some point, like you mentioned. But it is called Eco's First Continent. And I just played this, I don't know, it was this year with Katie's cousin and her husband. And you may have played it. I don't know if you played it or not.
I don't know.
But this is effectively a game where players are working together to build this kind of continent, the first continent, I guess. You're placing different tiles out on the board that are land, or water, like plains, grassland, mountains, all that kind of thing. And you have these cards in front of you that are going to be activated by somebody pulling a tile out of a bag, saying what the token is, and then if you have that token, you can mark one of those off on one of your cards. When you fill in a card, the card activates. I always call this a bingo style game because that's how it kind of feels to me. So you get symbols, you get a full, you activate the card. The card's going to let you help build that that terrain. Maybe put a mountain on a terrain to score points. Get different animals or fish out there on the board so you can try to create different types of habitats so you can score points. The cards are basically going to work with that map that you're building to help you score to get to the point threshold before everybody else. I think it's like 40 or 60 points based on the number of players. And it's a really fun game. The cards are fun, not exciting, but interesting when you get them. They do vastly different things. There's like a harder card and simpler cards that you can get depending on how you want to play. And I just really like this game. It's fun. It looks awesome on the table. And there you go. So that's my number 90, Eco's First Continent.
Yeah, this game does a lot of like cool things that I don't think a lot of other games do. It's outside my 100. And I think it's because I didn't play it with you guys this last time. But it is a really cool game. My number 90 is a game that I partially love because it has like this connection. We picked it up. I saw it and I was like, hey, let's get this game when we were on a trip for our wedding anniversary one time. And it is called Walking in Burano. And this game is just, it's so cute. Is this a 2-player only game?
No, you can play 4, I believe.
Okay. I was thinking it wasn't 2-player, but
I've only ever played it 2 players.
And I think it works really well at 2-player. I would suggest this for people who are looking for fun little 2-player games. It's a tableau building game where you are basically creating your street front in Burano. And you are drafting different levels of buildings. And they are different colors. And then they also have different decorations and stuff on each of the different levels. So there are some rules for how you put down different colors. The same can't go next to each other. And there's these placement rules that you could possibly break if you use some like bonus actions. But also all these decorations then are going to score you points. So you're trying to build your tableau and get like tourists or locals that will help fire off the certain type of decorations that you have that they really like. They're going to give you in-game points. And so I love, like, it's a really fun, like, little puzzly tableau and drafting game. There's a Santa. Like, it's just cute and fun. So it's nice to play it too. Not super intense, but still, like, there are meaningful decisions in it. And I like it. The artwork's cute. I think it's a great game. So my number 90 is Walking in Burano.
Yeah, I don't like this as much as you, but it is a fun game. Every time I play it, I enjoy it. So, and it looks cool on the table. My number 89, I think you don't like as much as I do, but I do really like this, and it is Surfosaurus MAX. And this is effectively semi-cooperative poker, which sounds weird, but that's kind of what you're doing. Every turn, players are going to play a card in front of them. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to build together-ish the best poker hand of these cards that are being played. There's different suits on these dinosaurs. All the suits are like dinosaurs riding surfboards. I don't know why, but they're funny. And they're different colors. They go like 1 to 12 or something like that. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get your cards into the winning hand. So maybe I'll play a 6 of green, and then somebody else will play, they'll shift it to red. So it's going to have similar poker hands like 4 of a kind, full houses, straights, all that kind of thing. So you want to have, whatever happens, you may have to shift your strategy because you're going to play 2 cards. It's going to come back to you. You're going to play another card. So then you may have to shift into something else so you can try to get that new card into the winning hand. And if you do that, you're going to score some coconuts that are on the card. Sometimes there'll be a tie for some cards if you're playing numbers, and you may get half the coconuts. But you're just trying to get coconuts, trying to have the most points at the end of the game, and hopefully, you can participate in some of the winning hands. Probably not all of them, but some of them. It's really, I like it. I think it's fun. It's kind of weird to teach a little bit because you have to see it in action, I think, to really understand it. But once you get it, it sings, and I have a really good time. So number 89, Surfosaurus MAX.
Yeah, I don't like it as well as you. I want to like it, but I'm just so bad at it. Like, I just am. And I don't know why.
I mean, it's a lot of random. You just do what you got to do. You do the best you can and see what happens. That's kind of how I play it.
Yeah, it just never works out for me. So I don't know. It's not like it's a bad game. I just would not. I don't always want to play it because I'm like, I can't get it to work for me.
And it is funky too. Like, I've never played another game that's felt like that. It's weird. Theme's weird. Gameplay's weird. It's just weird all around.
Yeah. My number 89 is a card game as well. And this game is called Forest Shuffle. Do we own this or do we just borrow this?
No, we have it.
Okay. Because at first I thought we didn't, correct?
We did not at first, yes. That is
so in this card game, it's tableau building. So it's like sort of like Earth Light.
Yeah. Yeah.
In some ways, because you're getting these trees out, and then there's certain species that are attracted to the trees. So you kind of got this habitat. And really you're not doing anything like crazy as far as turn. You have 6 cards in your hand. On your turn, you either draw 2 cards and add them to your hand, or you play a card from your hand and then pay the cost. So that's pretty much it. But you're kind of balancing, like, what cards am I playing to use as payment for other cards? How can I get, like, there's different sets that you're collecting, different, like, point conditions on these cards. You're trying to decide, and also, like, there are certain cards that go underneath the trees, certain cards that go above the trees, certain cards are on the left and the right of trees, and, like, figuring out where the best placement is going to be for the tableau you've got going on is, like, the crux of the game. So, again, a very simple action, but with, like, meaty decisions. And I actually really love Earth, like, a lot. So to have it, like, if maybe people can't handle that or want to do something a little more compact, take a little less time, I think Forest Shuffle is where it's at. So that's my number 89, Forest Shuffle.
Yeah, this is a good one. There's actually an expansion for this too that I wouldn't mind getting. Alpine. Yeah. Alpine.
Yeah. I did see that when I was, like, looking at my list that Alpine was out there.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend this above Earth, but they would scratch a similar itch if you could only grab one.
Right.
This one's a smaller box, so I would suggest it on box size alone, probably. But it's a really good game for sure. All right, so my number 88 is actually a game I haven't played a lot. And honestly, I think it's just up here because I played it like twice and I really like it. I liked it, and the theme is different. And I don't know, I was enamored by it. So my number 88 is Legacy, the Testament of Duke de Crecy. And this game is basically just a game about building a family tree. And you're doing that through some worker placement. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get your sons or daughters married. You're the head of this house. Duke de Crecy, you're Duke de Crecy, and you're trying to get your sons and daughters married. Then you're trying to have them have kids so they can get married and have kids, family tree style. But along the way, you're also trying to make political connections, trying to build some mansions, trying to make sure that you have a fortune. Sometimes your kids are going to get sick, and you may have some people in your family tree that don't have any kids. So then that side of your family tree is just kind of, dried up. It's a really interesting family simulation, I guess, but I enjoy it. I would play it more, but you have to have a huge table for it because the family trees get out of control. And none of our tables are that big. So until we get a bigger table, we'll probably be playing this game for a while, but someday. My number 88, Legacy, the Testament of Duke de Crecy. I
think we could play it on our... I don't know. See, the problem is it's not just like our dining table can get along with a leaf in it, but you need a wide table.
Right. Yeah. Because if you have 4 people around the table, it's going to get too wide. Yeah.
Or like if we each played at like the opposite ends, the long ends or something.
Yeah. That would work. 2 players would be fine, but more than that, it would get a little tricky.
Yeah. My number 88 is a deduction game, but one that I think people, I think that Jason also enjoys this, and I think people who have trouble with deduction games would like this because you're not really fighting against each other for deduction. You are fighting against the Red Death. And then so my 88 is Masque of the Red Death. This game, if I would play it more, it would be so much higher because I think it's so flipping good. It's based on Edgar Allan Poe's short story, Master of Death, where you are at the party that the prince is having, and there's all these different colored rooms. There is a clock that is moving towards midnight, which is when death will show up. Death will move through a very specific set of rooms. They're all planned out in like 5-minute increments. So your job during the party is to like get popularity, schmooze, talk, whatever, through playing a series of action cards from your hand to try and deduce where death will be during certain during the different time segments after midnight. I think it's is it like from 12 to 12:30 maybe or something?
It's 12
to 12:15. No.
I can't remember. 12 to 12:30. Yeah, it might be 12 to 12:30. That sounds right.
And then you are going to program where you will be during that time so as not to, run into death because you die. We have always played it where you don't take notes, and I think that makes it probably inaccessible for a lot of people and way more difficult. I think we could probably house rule it and take notes on what you find out, and that would be a little helpful. But it's so tense. It's when you hit that midnight, you're like, oh my gosh. Like, even if you knew every single one, there's still something about the intensity of where death is going at each hour and how they're moving. And did I program this right? And even though I know they're not going to be here, am I sure? Like, it's so good. It's such a good game. The artwork is really awesome. I really enjoy this. So it's my number 88, Masque of the Red Death.
Yeah, I like this one because it actually has like some game in it as opposed to just for me to figure out things, because that's the part I'm not good at. So in this, I can at least, get cards from people. I can move stuff around. I can, move up on some tracks, do all that stuff. So when I ultimately fail at the end, at least I've done some stuff during the game that I don't feel so bad about.
Well, and it is really hard because even if you know where death is going to be, sometimes you can't avoid all the places, or you only know like there's two rooms per time slot. So you might know one, but not the other. So it's like, who can survive the longest, essentially.
Well, you can only move one space away, but death can move wherever the crap he wants to. So
right.
That's tricky. Yeah, this is a good one. It's not on my top 100 for. I don't think I have any deduction games on mine. I don't know that for sure, but it's probably a good probability that they're not, because I'm just not good. My number 87 is not a deduction game. It is a game about building Jurassic Park, and it's called Dinosaur Island. This game's great. We haven't even played it in a long time, but we played it a lot, and I still like it. You're basically just recruiting different workers to work in your lab, work in your park, and you're ultimately trying to create dinosaurs by mixing DNA. You're going to be drafting dice to get DNA. You're going to mix DNA together. You're going to get recipes for these different dinosaurs. Carnivores are going to be, riskier. You get an herbivore in your park. It's not going to eat people. So you have to make sure you have enough security to keep your carnivores in check. If you have not enough, it will eat some of your customers that come in. We've all seen the movie. And you're trying to have as many points as you can, the best dinosaur parks that you can. You're going to get points for filling in your park. You're trying to get attractions like restaurants, roller coasters, all that kind of thing. Such a good game. Again, this is another one that takes up a huge space on the table too, but it's worth it, and I really enjoy it. Now I kind of want to play it, so I guess that's good. My number 87, Dinosaur Island.
I also want to play it, but it is much higher on my list because I really dig this game. So we will discuss it again at a future time. My number 87 is a version of a game that I love, that I think, and I actually love all the versions of this, including the one that Jason wouldn't let me buy at Gen Con.
What game is this? Oh yeah, we're not buying that.
Yes, we are someday. But number 87 is Between Two Castles of Mac and Ludwig. I love the original castles. It is much higher on my list, actually next to Dinosaur Island. So we will be talking about it in the future. I really enjoy Between Two Castles as well because you can play with a lot of players. And the reason I love castles is all the rooms. And there's so many cool rooms in this that like I haven't even looked at because it doesn't get played a ton. But I love to see the possibilities, and you're working on, so you're working with a partner, you and the person on either side of you. You have a castle with each of them. But to keep it from being like, oh, I'm just going to really work hard on one castle and the other castle's crap. You will get the score for your lowest scoring castle. So you really want to make both of them the best you can. So it's a drafting game and then tile placement. And again, I just love the rooms. You're really trying to work with the rooms that you get to make great scoring combos, which the scoring is tricky on this. Like that is the one, that's what keeps this, I think, from being higher.
Not anymore. Not with that app.
Right. But there is an app. Jason and I bit the bullet and bought it, where you just take a picture of the castle and the app scores it for you, which is like pizzimp, let me tell you. Like it's absolutely worth it. It's like $4.99 or something.
The game was 25 minutes and the scoring was 20 minutes. That's a lot.
So the app is totally worth it, and it makes it this way. Like I feel like you can help people play it. So like if you kind of disperse people who know how to play games or have played a version of Castles before amongst brand new players, that makes this a game that I think can really work for a large group where people still feel like they're playing a game but don't get as overwhelmed. If you have a lot of people who don't know what they're doing, it can go badly. I've had some bad experiences with this, but some really good ones too. So maybe I'm the only one that loves it, but it's my number 87, Between Two Castles.
No, I do like it. It's just I didn't love the scoring, and that left a bad taste in my mouth. And I don't think I've played it since we've gotten the automatic scoring thing.
Right.
So I need to play it again with that so I can kind of get a better vibe for it.
Yeah, because I think when we got the scoring app, I used it and you weren't playing the game with me. So
correct, because I was already ruined from the score before. Yeah. All right, so my number 86 is actually a game we just got an expansion for. Actually, like 4 expansions for. They all came in one box. And it is called Lords of Vegas. And we have the old version of the base game with the new shiny expansions. Doesn't really matter. You just use the cards from the old game. And this is effectively a game about building up hotels on the Vegas Strip in whatever time period all that stuff started. And you're doing that through, you're flipping some cards that's going to give you some property that you're going to acquire. And then once you can spend money to then start developing casinos. You can merge with other casinos. You can remodel your casino to turn it into a different color that maybe has more cards in the deck to hit. Because every time a card flips, that color of casino is going to pay out. And you can see how many cards, how many cards are in the deck, and you can see how many have been played. So eventually you're going to have to remodel to get to a color that will keep paying out. It's super easy to play. It's a ton of fun. Kind of random. It's cards. You're at the flip of the card, but I don't really care about that stuff like some people. I like it. It's a good time. We have the up expansion as well, where you can build the casinos up. Underworld, which adds a little bit of craziness. Just a good game. Good game. And I enjoy it. So my number 86, Lords of Vegas.
This used to be a lot higher for you.
Well, we haven't played it, and I think that's part of it, is it fell because of that. And then we got the expansion. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to play this again. So it kind of brought it, back into a little bit.
I know. I was thinking, why haven't we played with these expansions yet? I'm surprised you haven't brought them out.
I know. It's coming soon. It's coming soon.
This is actually much higher on my list also. I don't know what your problem is. You got all these games in the wrong spot.
I know. My top 20 is just banging.
Oh, okay. We'll see.
We will see.
My number 86 is a game that I am like one of the only people on the planet that talks about this game, which is interesting because I've had other people comment on videos and stuff or send messages to us because I'm the only person that talks about this game, and that's Mai Star. This is an AEG like small box game, randomly picked up for $5. I love it. It's geisha themed. It's a card game, multi-use cards. So you are a geisha and you have cards that can either be clients, and because it's a card shedding game. So you are trying to get rid of the cards in your hand. If you play a client, then you don't have to refill your hand. However, you may not have all of the different attributes, entertainment options that client is looking for. So instead, they're going to advertise for you and talk about how you're great geisha, and they're going to like build up certain of your traits, whether it's entertainment or music or, you know, witty conversation because of your the other things that you know. The game can get a little mean, but I just love the way the card play works. I don't want to say it's too mean because I feel like the tides are turning all the time based on who's getting able to shed their cards and that sort of thing. And I like the theme and the artwork. And I really like card games. You'll notice I feel like a lot of the games that happen to be on my list, especially on this particular section, are card games because I just connect so well with them. They are easy to get out on the table. They don't take up a lot of room. They aren't always like, you know, have, you know, people sitting around like trying to suffer through hours of gameplay. And if it doesn't, you know, work for somebody, you move on. But yeah, I just really like this game. So my number 86 is Mai Star.
Yeah, the meanness isn't too bad. It's mostly like discard a card or draw a card. Like, not the end of the world most of the time.
Yeah.
And it's a 30-minute game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my number 85 is actually a game from our friend. He's not really our friend, but we've been calling him that forever. Philip Duberry. And it is called Black Orchestra. And this is a game about some Germans who were trying to devise a plan to kill Hitler. Not the Valkyrie plan. This is the Black Orchestra plan. Same concept, but different people. One of the main people behind this was Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who is getting a movie. So can't wait to see that. But this is a cooperative game where you are basically moving around the map, trying to get these different locations, pick up different types of weapons, intel, and then different kinds of cards that eventually some of them are going to be plots to kill Hitler. And the way that those plots work is maybe I need to be in a certain area at a certain time in the game with Hitler's military level being at a certain, you know, strength. And I need to have a certain kind of weapon. So a lot of things have to line up. If I can do some of those things, I can get to where he is. I can roll some dice. If I get more hits than his military level, we win. If not, bad things happen. And, you know, we got to try again. It's a lot of one step forward, two steps back. You do something good, and whenever you get caught doing something, trying to kill Hitler, you're going to be set back. You're going to you're going to get arrested. If everybody gets in jail, you lose. If you can't kill Hitler by the time the cards run out, you lose. You're probably going to lose. But it's a ton of fun. I like it. It's tense. Everybody's working together to try to get Hitler. You can move Hitler around with cards. You can move other people around. Everybody's trying to work together to get it exactly how you need it for this plan to work, and it never does. But fantastic game, and I like it quite a bit. So my number 85, Black Orchestra.
Yeah, we call Philip Duberry our friend, but we're not his friends. He's our friend.
He does follow our channel and comment. So, I mean, friend adjacent, kind of, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would definitely be willing to call him our friend if he would accept it. This game is actually higher on my list also. So you've been just striking out with this series here. My number 85 is a card game. Imagine that. Jason does not like this game as much as me. I just love working cards in the way this game does, and that's Marvel Remix. I actually would really like the fantasy version, which I never remember what it's called.
Fantasy Realms.
Okay, that's what I thought. I would like Fantasy Realms, but I've heard it's supposed to be ridiculous to find, right?
No, Marvel Remix was the hard one because it was in between print runs. I think they just redid Fantasy Realms. Somebody did. I saw it at one of our game stores not that long ago.
Oh, I mean, I think I would like it. I also like Marvel as well. So it's not like it's a theme that I can't stand. But this is kind of where Red Rising does this plus some, where you have cards and each the cards have these scoring conditions, and you have a set hand of cards. You can only play so many cards. Only so many cards are going to be able to get played out, and you're only going to get a chance to kind of replace and shuffle around cards in your hand. But you're trying to make the best hand that you can. And for me, like a game where I have very limited choices. The actual playing of the game is very simple, but the choices are freaking agonizing. Oh my gosh. What do I keep? What do I get rid of? What do I hope is going to come out of this deck to help make this work? Am I going to have enough time to do it? Also, it's so short. So if one round goes terribly, okay, it's done. New one. And that's also done in 5 minutes too. It's just super quick. But I just love like that puzzle of trying to make this hand as good as I can, work with what I've got, and like just make these really difficult choices. I just really enjoy it. So my number 85 is Marvel Remix.
Yeah, the last time we played this, I liked it a little more. I just think it's too fast. That's my main gripe. But I like the concept. I just feel like I never have enough time to do what I want to do. And that's my big issue. My number 84 is a Martin Wallace game, because I love Martin Wallace. No one else wants to play Martin Wallace.
I want one of them.
But this is one that actually looks nice. It has good art. It has good production. It doesn't look like a Martin Wallace game until you start playing it. And it's called Via Nebula. And this is effectively brass in fantasy world. Effectively, you are building routes in the clouds, and you're trying to eventually clear out cloud area so you can build these buildings on tiles to produce goods, and then you're moving the goods around through your network, a la coal and brass. Same kind of vibe. This one's a little bit easier. It's more palatable than brass, and it's probably more welcoming because it looks better on the table, but it definitely has Martin Wallace DNA. I like this. I like brass better. Spoiler. But this is a really good game that I would really like to play some more, and maybe someday. So my number 84, Via Nebula.
Yeah. I kept forgetting about this game, and it's not even that it's a Martin Wallace game, but because it's a Martin Wallace game, it does things I don't like, and therefore it's just kind of boring, and I don't really like it.
Yeah, he has some stuff that he really likes to do in every game. he really likes him some trains and some network building. He really likes that.
Which is fine. I just won't play it. My number 84 is a game. They just came out with a dice version, but of this game. Is there dice in the original? No.
No. The dice is the new one that we get.
Which is fine. I do not like the dice version as well as this version. That's Quartz. Quartz is a game that is this still really hard to find?
Yeah, it doesn't exist. Not for cheap. Yeah.
All right. So sorry, everyone. I actually desperately would love to have the version. They did a version that is themed Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I want that.
That one's even harder to find.
Well, of course, because I want it badly. But in Quartz, you are mining for gems, and it is a push your luck game, which is like Jason's jam. It's push your luck, but there's also cards that you can play because you want to kind of bank some gems, and there are coal that you can get, which is not going to be good for you. But but other people can steal your gems. You can trade gems. You can force people to take bad gems to make them bust. So it is mean, but it's short and fun and risky. The artwork, actually, I really love in this game. I think it's fun to look at. It's just a fun game, real easy to get anybody in there because you got people pushing their luck all over the place. It's really good. So my number 84 is Quartz, and I really want the Snow White and Seven Dwarfs version.
Yeah, the dice version I was super excited about, and I like it, but it's not nearly as good as this game.
No.
This game's fine. My number 83, I'll probably talk about it later. My number 83 is a
also
game.
Dwarves.
Also dwarves, yes. But not push your luck. This is bidding. And this is called Nidavellir. And this is basically a bidding game where you have these coins. And you're going to put a coin down on each of these 3 taverns that you're bidding on. If you're using expansions, it changes. But in the base game, you're going to put it face down on one of the taverns. Then everybody's going to reveal highest coin gets first pick of these cards. And you're basically trying to collect different sets of dwarves to score points. There's, I think, 5 different colors. And once you get a set of all 5 colors, you get one of these extra special dwarves that may give you more points in the color. It may give you this other set of dwarves that are these crazy brothers that give you a whole pile of points. And you're just trying to do the best you can, get as many points as you can, and you are the winner. That's the game. You're going to play through basically 2 phases. In the middle of the phase, they're going to give some awards, some extra cards, and some extra stuff like that. And then once it's all done, you score. Whoever has most points is the winner. I like this game. We just got the fancy, nice coins for it because the original coins were on this like cardboard bench and it was annoying. But this is a really good game. I love the art. It's simple to play, it's easy to teach, and I really like set collection, and that's basically what this game is. So there you go. My number 83, Nidavellir.
I really like this game a lot more than you. So once again, we will be discussing it at a later time. My number 83 is a new game to us. We got it at Gen Con. I saw when we were talking about we did like our preview episode. This is a game that I was like, oh yeah, I'm intrigued because again, I love card games. So the card game is Rebel Princess. This game is awesome. So this is a game that takes... Jason always compares it to Hearts, which is fine.
That's what it is. It's Hearts.
Okay. It's a trick-taking game. And in this trick-taking game, there are different rules, though, with each round, which I just think is really cool. And so, like, they're like, it's almost like an event. So each round has this certain rule that changes normal play. Because the theme of it is you are a princess and you're like, I don't want to get like married to some dang prince. He's going to wreck my future like vibes and plans. And so there is a suit of cards that represents the princes, and those are you do not want to capture tricks with them in it. And then there's also like a frog card. So he's like the frog prince, and he is way bad news because he's like in disguise even. So he's super bad points for you. So you are trying not to take tricks, or at least not take tricks with the princes or the frog in them. But each round, the rules are a little bit different. The artwork is cool. Everyone's princess has a special power. It's just so good. I think the artwork, it's fun. It's super fun. It's neat. It's another great. I love trick-taking games. Again, I'm from the Midwest. It is in my DNA. And this does some really great stuff to what I find a very basic, familiar, comforting type of gameplay. So my number 83, Rebel Princess.
Yeah, this is a good one. Those events are crazy too. They're like nuts. 30 of them, and they completely like it's a pretty normal trick-taking game. If you take those events out, you just don't want to collect the blue suit, the princes. You throw in those events, and maybe you want a prince. Maybe like it turns everything on its head. You have to play other people's cards. It's crazy.
It's nuts.
It is crazy. Yeah, it just adds complete chaos. So you never know what's going to happen. My number 82, Katie already talked about it, and her number 84, and it is Quartz. So I'm not going to go into too much more detail. Push your luck. some meanness. It's almost a little too mean for me, almost. But the push your luck brings me back. The dice game is a lot less mean, but it's not as fun. So that's that. Yeah, that's the rub. But yeah, I really like this game. It's you pull stuff out of a bag and try not to bust, and that's one mechanism that I really love. Pulling stuff out of a bag and push your luck. This has all of it. I'm in all day. So my number 82, Quartz.
Yep, I guess that was good. My number 82 is a card game. Shocking, I know. This section is my card game section, apparently. Actually, I'm sure there's more higher up. But my number 82 is Mori. This is a card game from All Play that we just, gosh, when All Play does a little, like they have these great little games, and when they're done right, like, dude, I am in it. Like, I just love them. Mori is one of those that, again, turns a normal trick-taking game on its head. It also has this really interesting artwork. Beth Sobel, I believe, did the art for this.
That is correct.
Look at me go. Look at me go. So there's like skulls and flowers, which I think is like fantastic. But what happens is you're playing these tricks, and like there's also dice plus cards. So it's like, oh, it's a trick game, but we got dice. Yes, we do. Also, you've got cards that have positive points in them, but they're the low cards, and then cards that have negative points, which are skulls, that are the high cards. So you can take tricks in a normal way based on, high card taking a trick. But then if you get a bunch of high cards, those are negative points, and that's bad. Also, what's interesting is since you can never lay Trump is actually determined by whatever the first card is. There's like a little rondelle that shows you what card will be Trump based on like the card behind it.
It's the seasons, the four seasons.
Yeah, it's not. That part can get a little weird. They should just put it in a line, but whatever. But you've also got these X's then that you can play out of your hand. Those it just takes trick taking and has these little tweaks to it, these little quirks. And so what is a normal, like, I'm playing a card, I gotta follow suit, whatever, it adds these those little rule bendies that makes you think, oh well, I could do that, but I don't want to do that, but I want it's the cool thing about this is you're getting dice when you win tricks. And
I was going to say, you're going to forget the dice part, and that's like the coolest part.
Well, I brought it up, but I just didn't go into it. You're like, let's not talk about everything about every game because it's going to take too long. Anyway, so the dice, when you win a trick, you get a die, which is cool because then you can use the die instead of a card. And why that matters is if you can then have cards in your hand. When someone plays the last card in their hand, then like the hand is over. So if you still have cards in your hand and they have points on them, you get those points. And that is a good feeling. But
and the best part about the dice, they don't have to follow suit.
They don't follow suit. You can just play one whenever. They are a zero. You could even sometimes they like come out as Trump and are actually helpful. They can win a trick.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Right. It's just like another cool little like spin on trick taking. It's so good. This is one of those card games that my brain is like, yeah, like Surfosaurus MAX. I'm like, okay, it's fun, but I suck at it. Mori, like that is my wheelhouse right there. There's something about how this game plays that just makes my brain real happy. It must have been all those puzzles that they made me learn in elementary school instead of, actual real knowledge. But Mori does it for me. So yeah, it's my number 82, Mori.
Oh, I like this game, but I'm awful at it. I don't get any points usually till the very last round, and then it's too late. I'm so bad. All right, my number 81, and the last one I'm going to talk about today, is a game from What's Your Game, and this might be the first one of their games that we ever picked up.
I think so.
It is called ZhanGuo. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but that's what I'm going to call it from here on out. And this is a game about trying to unify, sort of. You're still building the walls. You're not really unifying. unifying the provinces of China. And you're doing that by installing governors, building walls, building temples, and basically trying to... You have this player board in front of you, and you're trying to also quell down the populace because they will eventually riot and bad things will happen, and you can't play cards in those different areas to make your actions better. It's a really simple game mechanically. You're going to play a card either through the board or through your player board. But from there, that's where the craziness happens. If you play it on the board, you get to take actions. Whatever action you take, you get to take that action. And then all the other cards that are on your board, they give you bonuses for that action. And in order to do that action, the card either has to be higher or lower than the card that's already on the board. It's a beast to teach, but it's really fun. I like it. It doesn't get played a ton. I played it by myself usually most of the time, but man, it's good. So that's why it's on my list. 81, ZhanGuo.
This is not in my 100, mostly because we haven't played it for a while. And every time I play it, is a lot to remember and figure out. And at the end, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. But then I don't play it again for a while, and I'm like, okay, I got to relearn this. But yes, it is a good game. My number 81, and this is the last one that we're going to talk about, right, for the episode.
That's correct.
Is a game that Jason's like, I don't remember this. And we don't own this game, I don't think.
No, we do.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking right at it.
I want to play it again because it made such an impression on me. I really like it. And there is another game I saw that has some similar kind of mechanics that remind me of it that I think, ooh, I want to go back to Corrosion. So my number 81 is Corrosion. And this is a game about building engines. And so you're placing gears, but the thing with engines and gears is they can rust. So you're really trying to get productive, and they turn. So your gears are turning, and you are getting, in some ways like Tzolk'in, you are getting product, like what do I want to say? Product. You're getting
resources. I
don't know why I couldn't think of that name.
Products, resources, same thing.
It's late. We're recording this again late at night, and Katie is being typical bubblehead Katie at night. You're getting resources from them because they are actually producing and scoring as well. But again, steam filled air, we've got rust, so like they actually degrade over time as you use them, which I think is really cool. And you've got different engineers then that you can use that can allow you to do things. So it's kind of almost like deck building in a way, because you've got these little cards that allow you to do different things, but you're also kind of producing stuff with your engines, and the wheels are rotating, and you can manipulate the rotations, and it's so good. It was so interesting and so intriguing, and I can't remember the name of the new game that has some similar. It's like the new game is like if Corrosion and Tzolk'in had a baby.
Sprocket Forge.
It's Sprocket Forge, and I cannot wait to see what that is going to look. I saw like just a prototype, and I was so intrigued.
Well, I backed that one, so you'll get to see it.
Yay! Oh my gosh. Can't believe we back. Every time we back a game, I'm like, we back games? We do this? We can actually get games.
I mean, that one's got a gimmick. I had to back that one.
That's true. It's true. And Corrosion does have those turning wheels, and I just really like it. And I have been kind of jonesing to play this one again, pick it up again, because I really like that balance, and you're really working against, you are making what you're doing as like the best that you can. So there's not a ton of player interaction, which in general I'm okay with. But just a lot of cool stuff going on in this one. So my number 81 is Corrosion.
Yeah, I don't remember much about this one other than the gears.
If we played again, really, you'd be like, yeah, this is good.
No, I remember liking it. I just can't remember it. It's most of the time I can remember games, but I just can't remember much about this one.
All right. Well, let's count back down our numbers 90 to 81, just as a recap of the games that we covered in this episode.
All right, so my number 90 is Eco's First Continent, 89, Surfosaurus MAX, 88, Legacy, The Testament of Crecy, 87, Dinosaur Island, 86, Lords of Vegas, 85, Black Orchestra, 84, Via Nebula, 83, Nidavellir, 82, Quartz, and 81, ZhanGuo.
And my number 90 was Walking in Burano, 89, Forest Shuffle, 88, Masque of the Red Death, 87, Between Two Castles of Bad King Ludwig, 86, Mai Star, 85, Marvel Remix, 84, Quartz, 83, Rebel Princess, 82, Mori, and 81, Corrosion. So is anyone else working on their top 100? I really want to hear about it if you are. Also, any new games that we've mentioned? Any games that pique your interest? Do you think we're wrong? Are you surprised that Jason's ranking all these great games so low? Me too.
It only gets better.
Yeah, tell us about it on our socials. We've got the Facebooks, the TikToks, the X. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Twitter X.
No.
I don't know. Who knows what's going to be called? Yeah,
I don't know. The Crazy Man's social media, the YouTubes. We got a Discord channel. We got hashtag the Riveted, a Facebook group. So any of those things, we love to hear from you guys. We love talking about games. I'd love to hear your top 100 if anyone's working on theirs, your 90 through 81, or any comments about these games. Do you like card games too? My section was all card games this time, basically. Any predictions for our top 10? I don't know. Just give us a shout out. That's really all I'm saying.
Yeah, I got nothing to say. I'm going to keep chugging along on my other two countdowns. Yeah, and eventually every game that I ranked will be talked about. That's the goal. That is the goal.
I will not be doing that, but that sounds great.
Yeah, 342 games.
I ranked 306, I think, just because I was trying to make it easier to rank games this time. And if I really felt like I couldn't remember the gameplay or the last time I played it, I was like, you know what? We're not ranking it this time. I'm going to be completely honest and move forward in my game rankings. And there just are so many good games. It's just, which is great, which is a great problem to have.
Yeah,
all right.
It was mine was 346 actually, but yeah, I agree. I cut like 200 of them out. It was crazy.
Okay, well, I'm really sleepy, and I'm trying to stay up for the rest of this football game.
All right, but let's wrap it.
I've been Katie,
and I'm Jason.
Keep gaming, everybody.
Keep gaming.